here today. Uh, Very excited to share my journey. 10 years has been a lot of learning. Of course, I don't know if you know of our background. We ideally are exporters, and we have been working with all the high fashion houses in Europe and in US since past 30 years. So that expertise of doing research and development for the brands across the world and understanding what India is, okay, the uniqueness of India, which is of the art and the craft that we have, that started becoming the brand ethos and the birth of Jade,
Yeah,
because we wanted to bring our expertise that we were anyways doing for the whole world. We decided we must have a brand that is for India now. So
yeah,
that's how Jade was born. So I feel our main success has been really our love for this craft and reinventing it,
yeah,
because that is very important, because you have to look at it from a modern lens. It's like if khadi was cool, all the teens would want to wear it because you've made it more relevant to today. So that's what we want to do at Jade: use our traditional craft and make it more relevant to today's girl.
yeah.
I think that has played a huge role in our success.
And you mentioned reinventing, and I guess the whole basis of reinvention is keeping up with the changing times and seeing how trends are changing and being purposed. Because you see
Yes.
now these 80s and 70s trends, specifically in Western fashion, coming back, and
Right.
it's hard to keep up with.
Yes, absolutely. But also, the beauty is in keeping the craft, the roots of the craft alive,
Yes.
and then proposing it in a modern way.
Mm. So then you have the tradition, but then
Yes,
constantly
yes,
being adapted
yes.
upon.
Adapt. Yes.
I understand. And I read, so obviously the whole brand, you work with your sister-in-law, and Vogue described Jade as twice as good. So I just wanted to know, how has the partnership with Karishma contributed to the success of the brand?
So, as partners and as creative heads, we do have our creative differences, because that's the beauty of it. But as far as your vision is aligned and your love for your art, your craft, your heritage is same, then it's a beautiful partnership, right?
Yeah, I
In
bet.
fact, a lot of our holidays together, which are meant to be family holidays, turn into finding treasure, finding craft, and we always land up going to places which we think are culturally rich. So it's a great bondage that way.
Yeah. And do you feel your life at home also is always involved with fashion? Because, like you mentioned, you're on holidays together, so you must be around each other a lot.
Uh, no, I think once we are with our families, it's all about our kids. She has a daughter, I have two boys, so it's all around them then.
That sounds fun though. And so your celebrity closet is so glamorous and extensive. You've dressed high profile clients like Priyanka Chopra, Deepika Padukone, and Jacqueline Fernandez. What is that like, the experience of working with them?
Um, I would say, frankly, for me, all my brides are celebrities.
Yeah.
I am excited every time I'm dressing a new bride. So, because it's so important to make them feel, because it's their very special day, right? For them, they are the celebrity of that day.
Yeah.
So I think every time I'm dressing a bride, really, I feel she's a celebrity. But to understand how it is dressing Priyanka Chopra or Deepika Padukone, Jacqueline, it's very interesting, because every time it's nice to give them a new look,
Mm.
because they have a certain persona, a certain personality that people are used to, or a perspective about them. And you have to, as a designer, you also have your vision, so you have to marry both.
Mm.
So it's very interesting to dress all of them. Of course, they are uh, drop dead gorgeous, all of them, all these three women. Even Aishwarya, I've dressed her on many, many occasions.
Yeah.
She's so gorgeous. Yeah, just everything looks beautiful on her.
Yeah.
And if you look at Aishwarya, I would like to tell the audience that it's, a lot of times it's really not about style. I mean, sorry, not about your size.
Mm.
It's just really about how you style yourself.
Yes.
So people need to get out of this mold of, oh, I'm not a size zero, or I'm not a size small. I think it's really about how you put yourself together.
Yeah. And I do think it's also the clothes. If you're wearing clothes that you enjoy wearing and they make you happy, it
Absolutely.
brings out that confidence for you to rock any style, I think, as well.
Totally. It shows. That confidence, really shows. You're dressed well. You just put on a bit of makeup. I think any girl can look absolutely beautiful.
I agree. And with these clothes, where do you kind of look for this inspiration, or what inspires your fabrics and designs?
So I think inspiration can be everywhere, right? It could be through any of your five senses. It does. You don't have to look at a certain culture or a design book. It's not about that. Inspiration just is could be in any of your senses. Like you, sometimes it can come through your travel. Sometimes you're deep diving into your archive, where you've collected so much craft. Sometimes it could just be like I visited the temples of Hoysala in the south, and I was so stunned by these heritage temple. I don't know if you've seen them, but you must. It's a must visit in India.
Okay.
They are so gorgeous that every pillar in that temple is differently carved. I mean, something like that, when you see it, influences your collection. I came back and I designed the whole collection around temples of Hoysala. So, inspiration really in India, we are so lucky that heritage is all around us.
Yes, truly. And
Yeah.
you also mentioned that you look into the heritage and the tradition, which you mentioned. And do you feel like when you travel around, you look into the artisanal communities and you're looking at kind of the people of India as much as you look at the architecture and the designs?
I do. Do you know, we are so lucky in India that every state has a new weave,
Yes.
a unique weave. Uh, a Paithani sari to somebody in Assam will be different. In Gujarat, you will find a bandhani, you will find a patola. When you go to the north, you will find a different kind of a weave that they wear. Besides a weave, every state has a new kind of embroidery. There could be fulkari, there could be a Banarasi fabric. Every state has their own technique. Every state wears their sari in a new way.
Yeah.
A Maharashtrian lady will wear their sari differently. A South Indian lady will wear its sari differently. How beautiful is that?
Yes.
So you obviously are looking at the Indian culture. If you just study the different headgears that these states have across the states, every turban, every headgear is different.
Yeah.
Like you want to look at, if you want to think about a Maharashtrian king, or a Rajput king, or a king from the south, you just look at the headgear and you know which part of the country they are from.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting. We just have so much wealth. And even clothes, history really matters, right, in fashion,
Yes.
because fashion is influenced by what's going on. It could be just comfort. It could be era that we are living in. Just something simple as, how Jodhpuris were actually made for riders,
Mm-hmm.
right, for their comfort.
Yes.
But it eventually became a fashion statement. And now Jodhpuris are just worn by so many men.
Yeah.
So history also is connected with fashion. Culture, people are connected with fashion. So there's just so much to inspire from.
Yeah. That's, and I think when what you were saying about India having so much culture, it feels like there's so much more to discover. You could be in this industry for
Absolutely.
years and there's still so many different styles. And specifically bridal wear, for you, who is the Jade bride? What makes one of your brides so special? It's a big question.
Yes.
Every bride is
But
special.
yeah, for me, I always had this vision of a jade woman who is compassionate, somebody who knows her mind, someone who has her roots deep rooted in tradition, someone who also but has a global sensibility, someone who is professional. So that's the kind of picture, someone who's unapologetic, who believes in what they stand for. Because Jade as a brand, we are very, very, our ethos are about supporting the artisans and the craft. So for me, this is a Jade woman that I always have in my mind.
Yes. I mean, she sounds amazing. And I'm sure every bride you've dressed has embodies, these characteristics. And I think
Yeah.
wearing the clothes also makes that come out maybe, like we mentioned earlier.
Yes,
And
yes.
so the kind of bridal world is rapidly modernizing. So what pieces are we seeing in a modern bridal trousseau, in your opinion? What do you see?
I think now it's a lot about mindful buying
Mm,
and pieces that are well crafted than something that is mass made, because you want in your trousseau pieces that are personalized, something that goes with your style.
yes.
I do also believe that extremely traditional pieces sometimes add age. So I prefer wearing a bit more stylized pieces because they look young, they look funky, yeah, it's trendy, and no more other days where you just want to wear a simple anarkali or a sharara and go to a wedding or any of the occasions. So I prefer girls dressing up in a more quirkier way.
Yeah. And a modernized concept in bridal wear is, we mentioned earlier, is reinventing tradition. So kind of to elaborate, what does this phrase mean to you?
So, as we discussed before, it's for me, it is being deep rooted in your tradition,
Yes.
but seeing it through a modern lens in a way that you are presenting it in a more globalized sensibility. Because I have a lot of clients, in fact, this one client who is from Turkey. She got married, in India. She wore one of our ektar pieces, and for the wedding. And then now she has gone back to Turkey, and she's like, I wear this as a skirt with my boots and with a top. And every time I wear it to any of the weddings in Turkey, everyone's heads turn
Wow.
because this kind of craftsmanship they don't get to see.
Yeah.
And our Ektar Lehenga, I'll just send you a picture of it
Yes.
post this interview, is very special because it's not the typical gold work.
Mm.
It is done with a single thread of resham, and the whole lenga is crafted. It is so meticulous that it is now that technique is actually dying. We
Okay.
have revived it and used it in a very contemporary way so that people like us can wear it now. You can wear it with boots, and uh, we have a certain kind of artisans, actually only master craftsmen who are below the age of 40. Also, they have to only work in sunlight to do this kind of work.
Yeah,
So it's extremely labor intensive. And besides that, it's left to only few deft hands. Because with industrial revolution, a lot of people may do resham work with machines.
okay.
So a piece like that is history, right? It's
Yeah,
so precious. It's heritage. You wear a piece like that anywhere in the world, it's going to stand out.
I agree. I would love to
So
see a photo of it, so please send it.
I'll definitely send it to you. I think for me that is modernizing our traditional pieces.
Yes. And again, fashion is about empowerment of, our mind and our confidence. And it's about how the clothes are making us feel. How do you think your brand empowers brides and women to embrace their uniqueness, particularly?
So with fashion, I think you is fashion is not just your style statement. Fashion is your voice,
Mm.
right? If we just think of somebody, um, we can say someone like a Malaya who's from Pakistan. Okay, for her, wearing jeans is talking about freedom.
Yeah,
For someone like a Gandhiji who just wears a dhoti, he is making a fashion statement just by his dhoti means minimalism, his dhoti means swadeshi, his dhoti means so much, right? So every time you wear something, I think it's your inner voice.
yeah,
So uh, when you wear a jade product, for me, you're empowering a lot of artisans, and including our school, where we support about 250 women right now. So it is an investment that you're making to support the Indian craft.
yeah. That's amazing. And kind of moving on to your personal history, I know you're a certified architect and interior designer, sorry. And those disciplines, when I first read them, they definitely have an overlap with fashion design. Do you think that all these different interests work well with each other when you're designing fashion, or are they so different, or what do you think?
They definitely do help because creativity doesn't have any language, right?
Yeah,
Whether you're an architect, you're a fashion designer, you could be an artist. Creativity is beyond anything. But my knowledge in architecture, I do feel does help because architecture is so much about lines, the textures, the patterns, and that has helped me when it comes to fashion because fashion is flowy, it's feminine. So you're putting two contrasting aspects together.
yeah. Kind of like the rigid, not rigidness, the method
Yeah, yeah,
approach with a more kind of creative and spirit, like
yeah,
inspired
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I agree. And so you attended the Central St. Martin's Art School in London, and as
Yes.
a university student myself in London, studying
Oh,
now.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would love to know your favorite place in the city, or where you like to go.
So there are many. I think Portobello Market was one of my favorite.
Yes.
Um, then there was this Greenwich Market,
Mm,
and there was Wood Street
okay.
and Jubilee. All the flea markets. I really enjoy just walking around these flea markets, the antique stores. I don't know, it's really a passion I had since I was young. And I think London, besides these markets, it is so multicultural,
Yeah.
right? And the way people dress is just everyday inspiration.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to a market to get inspired.
Yeah, and what I find is when you move from different areas in London, in central London, the way people dress is so different. So I could be
Completely different.
Indian,
Yes.
then we go to Borough, and then you go to Strand, and there's three
Yes.
different styles, and you're like, wow, this is the one city.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But thrifting in London has actually been, it's so popular even now with all of my friends. They go to
Okay.
Camden, like places like Camden, and yeah,
Yes.
so it's the revival of kind of the vintage and thrift shopping. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so now more recent, as part of your recent launch with Lakme Salon, you created the new school of brides, which combines hair and makeup looks along with the clothes itself. So what did you enjoy most about this digital fashion week? Because it's different this year.
India has suddenly, you know, has this huge audience that is consuming social media or anything online.
Mm,
So for us, it's really a new era that India has entered. So you're obviously reaching out to a wider audience, which is a great advantage and to look at it positively. But I do miss an actual fashion show.
and I think this whole digital space is being occupied by like influencers and bloggers. And, it is so powerful to think that fashion has moved completely to digital.
Yeah,
But I'm
true.
sure, you miss the physical experience of watching, models walk
Of
past and
course.
all that.
It's like watching Wimbledon at home and going to the stadium and watching it.
Yeah, it's different. There's no
It's
atmosphere. Yeah,
the whole atmosphere, the energy is definitely different. You miss that human, energy.
yeah,
But at the same time, I do think is a great platform because you're reaching to a huge wider audience. Even for the stores, I feel the whole restriction of a brick and mortar store breaks when you start showcasing on your social media, on your website, because people can visit you at their convenience, whichever part of the world they are.
yeah. And I think
It's we have to use it to our advantage now.
yeah, definitely. And that kind of leads to my next question, that the pandemic has obviously complicated so many industries, and especially the fashion industry, and they're forcing it to operate at a new normal. And you mentioned that Jade has virtual consultations and you could get connected on social media. So do you think your brand has adapted more to suit this period, or has it always been, kind of versatile?
So we've always had brides from across the world. We
Mm,
have that's how already professionalized how we conduct our that time we used to do FaceTimes. So we had professionalized on how we want to make the experience of somebody who's across the seas to feel as if they are in the store, because it's not easy to give that luxury experience which your store can give to virtual.
yeah,
But we have curated that and we've tried to make it as seamless as we could, from doing a full sketch of the kind of vision they have in mind. They want a deeper neckline, they want a boat neck with collarbones showing what kind of jewelry they will wear. So a complete sketch is made. Sometimes we courier a swatch just so that they can put it on their skin. It's so important to wear a right color. We Indians have a warm skin,
yeah,
so it's important to wear just that right peach or the right pink, because if it goes on the cooler tones, it may not look right on the bride. So we have couriered them pieces, I mean swatches. We also have professional videos taken to take their measurements. We have repair kits which we send them just so that in case they can't travel back, they can just use a local seamstress and get their pieces altered. So multiple ways of making it very seamless.
yeah. And that's so incredible because you're kind of bringing this brand and, your designs all over the world and connecting it. So it doesn't feel so far away, or, you don't have to go to Mumbai to just,
Yes, yeah, yeah. I think that is the need of the hour. Luckily, we have been doing consultations, it just became an added advantage now.
Yeah. And this is linked, and it's a big question, but I wanted to know your thoughts on what the future of fashion will look like and what you want it to look like.
I think all of us are weaving the future of fashion together.
Yeah.
We all have this huge responsibility of supporting the craft that India is all about.
Mm.
This legacy that India has. And if we don't support it, it's really very soon going to die.
Yeah.
There are certain families, actually in our atelier, we have a 13th generation or the 15th generation of craftsmen working with us. And that art is passed down only from father to son.
Wow.
Um, if we don't support them now, it's not going to get passed down.
Yeah.
And uh, what is India? India is really the colors, the culture, the craft. The whole world comes to India for that. Which other country in the world has this scale of artisans, this scale of craft, however developed they are?
Yeah.
And that is the uniqueness that India is.
For
So
sure.
I think for us, for me at Jade, for me and Karishma, really the future of fashion is in supporting this craft. And I believe all of us together can make a difference.
Yeah. And I think it's all about increasing visibility as well, because the more we kind of uplift, these artisans, the more they can be visible to everyone living even abroad. Um, and like I
And
feel,
very important.
yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like even
The
living,
conversation, yes, the conversation needs to be around them. There needs to be a greater conversation because I was talking to a lot of youngsters also, and I was talking about this batik and the ajrak craft that comes from Kutch.
hmm,
They had no idea.
wow,
So imagine how much awareness is required. In school, they get to learn science, maths, arts. I mean, but they don't get to learn the craft that India is about, the uniqueness.
yeah. And
So the
actually,
awareness needs to be built.
I feel sorry, this is like related, but I recently went on a trip. I did a 6 week kind of tour after I finished school with my friends. And we did like Kanyakumari, Amritsar, like we did north to south. We went to our hometowns and we were in Jaipur and, we were in the pink city and we were looking at the fashion and, the sandals. And even the people we were talking to, they weren't talking they wouldn't inform us about kind of the actual art and craft that went into it. Most of them were imported, and I remember asking and being like, I read so much about the jyotis, like how are they made, and
Yeah,
they just talk
it will
about
be so
it being imported.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So
I
that's what this awareness needs to be built. There needs to be greater conversation around this, which is so unique to only India.
yeah, I think
And
within India and outside India as well. Yeah.
yes. So that no, I'm see, the unique. The conversation needs to be, of course, more global, but this is unique only to India, right? This craft, this art, the artisans, the widest range, and I don't know if you know, it's the second largest employment in rural India
Hmm. Okay.
after farming.
Wow. So it's big. It's like the number two.
It's big.
Yeah.
Yes. So if they lose jobs, they're going to shift to becoming an engineer, becoming into whatever other professions, right?
Yeah. And it's
And we will lose this forever.
yeah. And sorry, it just reminds you of kind of the loss of languages that we faced in India,
Yes.
and like I'm a language student, a literature student, and we touch on the fact that so many ancient languages are being lost because there's no one within the culture to be interacting, and there's no one outside who feels that they have the duty to kind of sustain, the thing to keep going. So I really agree with you on that.
Sorry, I'm very passionate about it and I just go on and on,
No, I
but I
enjoy talking
uh,
about it.
strongly for it.
No, but it's
uh, I,
good.
I, I think all of us need to really support this cause.
Yeah. And I wanted to kind of lead in to talk about the Chanakya School of Craft.
Cool.
Yes.
Yes.
And why is this school so important to you, as you've said so far? And the ethos of
I
Jade
think my
as
answer,
yeah,
sorry,
so
sorry.
we've talked about it. But
Yes. So my previous answer was also about this. Um, Really, it's all about our love for craft. Designing just happened, by the way. Uh, and if you think about it, you want to learn medicine, you want to learn engineering, you want to become an architect. There's a school for it. You don't get to learn craft. It's not institutionalized, and that is missing. That was one of our main vision, that we have to institutionalize this craft, otherwise it will die. So the curriculum is very extensive. What we are teaching, they learn really international standard uh, embroidery and craft, and I think more than 3,000 techniques within this 1 year that they come to us. Secondly, it was a male dominated industry. We wanted to bring in women because women really are the center of a family. We thought empowering women would be, empowering a family. So that's how the school began last year. In fact, we had Maria Grazia, who is the creative head of Dior,
yeah.
who inaugurated the school.
Wow. So
Yeah.
she came and she got to meet all the students.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. She's a mentor and a very dear family friend.
Wow.
We've been working with her for now many years.
Wow. But that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and kind of again more current, your autumn and winter 2020 collection is called Weaves of Hope. What is symbolic about this name and the whole collection in general?
This also I answered before when I said we are all, uh, living in hope.
Yeah.
So it's important that we all weave this hope together.
Yeah.
And for me, a bride, when I meet so many brides, they have so many beautiful stories of their vision of their wedding. It's like the whole family is dreaming together for
Yeah.
the daughter. I still remember once when we had gone to this village in Kutch, this grandmother who really was very old, but was still embroidering this beautiful, absolutely stunning fabric.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, her stitches were absolutely stunning on that. And we asked her that, what are you making? She said, I am embroidering a lehenga for my granddaughter.
Wow.
So they start embroidering the lehenga from the time the daughter is born in the house. That gave me the thought of weaving hope. They are weaving the hope about her beautiful future.
Wow. That is so heartwarming. I love that concept. I know the inspiration of the name. Yeah. And kind of the last, again, we're talking about the future. Last question is, what advice can you pass down to anyone, young and old, who love fashion, who are creatives, who are in the industry, or who want to get in the industry? What advice can you give them?
So I would divide this into two different audiences. In general, I want to bring, as I said before, the conversation around craft more often. I want the young generation to be more aware about the legacy that they are born in, and to make a room in their wardrobe for this craft.
Yeah.
And they will they once they start wearing it, they will know how beautiful it looks with even a western garment. You just have to style it well. I most of the times wear a Indian jacket embroidered with jeans. I sometimes wear this beautiful embroidered off-shoulder top with flared pants. So you just have, or a lovely vintage choker with my just a white or black shirt to
Mhm.
work. So there's so much that you can mix and match. So that would be for audience who's not aspiring to be fashion designers. and, and for fashion designers, I think the market in India is not very mature. It's not like the markets that like they work in Europe or in America. It's not as organized,
Mhm.
uh, but you can actually pick up any craft that India has. There's just so much variety. Stay true to what your vision is instead of aping anybody else. And I think stay true to that vision continuously. You know, you need to stay consistent for a few years. For it's like an artist who's painting on a canvas needs to have a vision and a consistency over years, right? Then you start understanding which artist that is, because you understand the language of that painting. And that goes for fashion too, that goes for the designers too.
That's such good advice.
Thank
And
you.
that's all my questions for you today. It was so nice talking to you. I feel like we touched on so many different topics in
Thank you.
this space.
Yes,
And
it was really lovely.